Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Beware Bulldogs podcast. We're your hosts, Caleb and Caleb. I'm Caleb Nale. That is Caleb. It's opposite. That is Caleb Pletz. You can find us on YouTube, or you could, if you want to see our faces, Beware of Bulldogs. We're on X, Beware_Bulldogs, Instagram, Beware of Bulldogs podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. Today's goal: tell one friend about Beware of Bulldogs. If they're a Fresno State fan and not listening to Beware of Bulldogs, can they consider themselves a Fresno State athletics fan? I don't know. That's the goal. Tell one friend about Beware of Bulldogs podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we got a great show for you. We have Nevada Wolfpack preview. The Dogs play Nevada this Saturday, 7:30, late start in former Bulldog Stadium. Caleb and I are going to break it down for you guys. First off, Caleb, how you been, man?
I'm doing well. It's another week here. I mean, the season, we're on to game 5 now, which, the season's flying by. I think I said that last week too. So Dogs are 4-0. I mean, this team's rolling, and I don't think this is going to be quite the test that, we are worried about. I think it's the next couple weeks that are probably going to be more dangerous to this Fresno State team going on the road against, a little bit tougher conference foes. So, this one should be another kind of tune-up game, and, I think a good way to ease into conference play for the Fresno State Bulldogs.
Yeah, we're 4 games in, and leading into this season, almost halfway. We could almost say 5 games in, almost halfway. Caleb, at the beginning of the season, there were so many questions that needed to be answered, or I should say, that we needed to have answered, because we didn't know much about this team. And I think the Red Wave would agree. There were so many questions going into this season. We'll talk more about it at the halfway point, but 4 games in, how do you feel so far about those questions that we had? I mean, questions like Mikey Keene, questions like wide receivers, and then we had safety. How are we feeling right now, 4 games in?
So I'll start on offense. I think we pretty much have a good idea of what this offense is capable of. We've seen really strong 7 touchdown performance last week against Kent State, and we've seen this team kind of battle through some tougher matchups in games previous. So Mikey is a very capable quarterback. He's playing within the Jeff Tedford system, and as long as the offensive line gives him enough time to step into a throw, he's going to deliver it effectively. So Mikey, I think we feel pretty good about, and even seeing Logan kind of come in and a change up mobile quarterback position. I think that's kind of been a nice surprise to kind of see that wrinkle thrown in, and give opponents a little something extra that they have to prepare for. So yeah, I'm liking that. I think our receiver questions, kind of got answered last game against Kent State. We saw kind of
you say Eric Brooks answered them week 1.
That's true. Yeah. Brooks, that definitely being the go-to, Coach McCann calls him a safety blanket, but last week with the Jalen Moss kind of, breaking out and solidifying himself in that lineup as being a go-to target, I think is big for Keene having another dependable target to go to, and hopefully taking some pressure off Eric Brooks. I know he's been getting a lot of attention lately from opposing defenses, so I think the more weapons that are out there on the field, I think is definitely going to help this offense.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to open everybody else up, and it's nice to see that they have answered the call when it comes to the wide receiver room, because when they man up Brooks and put a safety over the top, somebody's going to be open, and Jalen Moss has answered that. And we even saw Magdalena. I mean, he's a yak guy. He can outrun you. So he's a threat. And then, Trey Watson as well. And Bouse Tech. He scored a touchdown. His first touchdown of his career, I believe, this year in the first 4 games. So I think a lot of those questions have been answered. The only one I think that I need, or the only one I don't feel comfortable about saying that it has been answered yet, is safety, which is funny because I was more confident in the defense going into this year than anything. Now, Arizona State game, studs. And I think the question was totally on the offensive side of the ball. But I think after the Kent State game, now it's switched again back to the defensive side of the ball. But for the most part, I'm very excited for this team. I believe most of our questions have been answered. And Caleb, we're ranked according to the AP and the media, who I should say, I hate polls in week 4, but we are ranked number 25. What's your thought on the AP ranking us number 25 in the country?
I don't think it means a whole lot, especially being a West Coast team. I think a lot of the voters, I think, don't pay a lot of attention to kind of our late window games. So yeah, I don't take a lot of really anything away from it. I think it's good that the team's getting recognized for having a solid start, starting 4-0, but it kind of just puts a bigger target on the team's back, which I don't like. I feel like we play better, as an underdog and being overlooked. And so when we are getting some credit, I worry that, that the team's going to maybe not play with so much urgency. So hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, obviously the Jeff Tedford coached team is going to be focused, and they're going to preach that the number doesn't matter, it's one game at a time. So that's our mindset here too. The CNC Football Factory is one game at a time. The only number that matters is the number in the point column. That's more than your opponent.
Right. We care more about letters, W's. That's it.
Exactly. There you go.
I think the football team does as well. I do want to add at the beginning of the season, I should say preseason, you and I were talking about how no one was talking about Fresno State. And it's a really funny dynamic, right? We want people to talk about Fresno State. We want people to know we're here, that we're good. At the same time, we were saying, this is great. No one knows or how good this team is. No one knows. And we're going to fly under the radar. And there's a possibility that we're undefeated heading into conference play. And here we are, undefeated, ranked 25. Yes, there's a huge target on our back now. But it's really nice when nobody talks about you and you're good. At the same time, though, you want people to recognize. I saw Michael Vick put out a tweet, and he had the top group of 5 schools, like top 10 or so, and we weren't on there. What in the absolute heck are you guys thinking? But you know what? Good. The less people talking about us or thinking about us, I should say, in the football world, the better, so that we can sneak up on you and beat you. But at the same time, we want people talking about us so that, recruits and all these different things, ticket sales and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, having the bulletin board material is helpful. I mean, if you look at how passionately the Oregon Ducks beat down on Colorado last week, that was an emotional win by the players on that team and the coaching staff too. So definitely having a chip is helpful for a little extra juice.
Yeah. All right. So if you have not listened to our Get to Know with John Ramey, he's the play-by-play voice of the Nevada Wolfpack. And by the way, he corrected me, and you'll see this if you go back and look at the titles for those. Wolfpack, Nevada Wolfpack is 2 words. Or excuse me, Wolfpack is 2 words. The one word Wolfpack is North Carolina State, NC State Wolfpack. Oh. I didn't know that. So if you go back and look, the ticker is 1 word Wolfpack. And then at the end, he said, by the way, Caleb, and I don't know if we were recording or not. He said, by the way, that's 2 words. Great. Make me look bad. Thanks, John. No. John's a great guy. And he informed us a lot of what's going on in Reno. So go check that one out. But I will say, I want to run through, if you haven't listened to that, where Nevada has been. And they have been on a losing streak for, I believe, 12 games.
Yeah.
I believe, it's double digits for sure. And this year they started the season off with a 66-14 loss to USC. Understandable. USC competing for a national championship, trying to that level. Then they lose to Idaho, 33-6. And I don't know much about Idaho. John said that they're one of the top teams in FCS. I believe that. Shoot, we have Mounier Bailey on our team, who is getting a lot of reps. He's a transfer from Idaho. Good players there in the Kibbe Dome. By the way, bucket list, I want to go watch a game in the Kibbe Dome. It's still up, right?
Yeah, I think so. They also play basketball there too. So would you want to see football or basketball there?
It doesn't matter. I want to experience the Kibbe Dome. I just want to experience the Kibbe Dome. Then after those 2 games, Nevada takes a huge step forward, loses to a good Kansas State, a good Kansas team, Kansas Jayhawks, by 7. And then they play Texas State. Texas State is a good team, a good offensive team, I would say. And they lose 35-24, and Nevada was up 17-0 at the half. Texas State scores 35 unanswered and ends up winning the game 35-24. By the way, I think the only touchdowns in the Texas State game were defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, at least the 2 in the first half were it was a pick six, like a 98-yard pick six, and then a recovered fumble in the end zone. So
Yeah.
The Nevada defense definitely helped out the offense there, putting some points up.
We are going to get to our Gonna Make You Sweat. Everybody dance now on our keys to the game. And don't worry, we have to talk weather about this game. So we will talk weather and the spread and things like that when we get there. That's what's in store. Players on the Nevada team, we're told to watch out for Nevada's quarterback, transfer from Colorado. He started, I believe, 2 years ago. He did take some reps last year at Colorado. This year, he's their starter. They do a lot of things with him. He has 0 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I believe, on the season. Thrown for over 500 yards. He has 2 rushing touchdowns. So he can move. He can do it all. He can move the ball through the air. It's not a quarterback that's inept at doing these things. He just hasn't thrown one yet. I will say there is no, was it Toa, the name we've been used to for the past 27 years. But it's a different Nevada team that we're going to be facing. And defensively, the ones we're supposed to watch out for is their corner that took the 98-yard interception all the way back for a touchdown, and their linebacker core. So that's what we should be looking out for on this Nevada team. And he also said that it's a decent O-line. There hasn't been any pass pro problems currently. So I'm hoping that, you know me, I love the trenches. I'm hoping that we can do a lot of things. We're going to get to that in a sec. But first, before we get to Caleb, do you want to add to anything about players or anything like that from Nevada that you have found?
Yeah, I mean, Nevada obviously is still rebuilding after, their prior coach Norvell left for Colorado State, pretty much decimated the team, and new coach Ken Wilson came in, and it's pretty much have to rebuild everything. So, and you see that in a lot of transfer portal acquisitions. Like you mentioned, Lewis, the quarterback, transferred from Colorado. Their top 2 running backs are transfers. Sean Dollars, cool name, is a transfer from Oregon. And another Pac-12 transfer in Hayes, I believe, is from Cal. So, they're taking and making use of the transfer portal and trying to rebuild here after prior coach left. So, one name that sorry, go ahead.
It's how disrespectful of Jay Norvell to leave it in whatever. If you keep up with Norvell, that's in the past, but I just had to say it.
Yeah, and the only name that you didn't mention was their kicker, who supposedly is one of the better offensive weapons on their team. So so far this year, Talton is his name. Perfect from extra points, 8 for 8, 4 for 6 field goals, but both the misses were from beyond 50 yards. So look for him to be a weapon for the Wolfpack.
And if he hits a field goal, he breaks the all-time record at Nevada for field goals. So interesting. There's something, a tidbit to keep watch on. All right, let's get to our Gonna Make You Sweat, Caleb, because this game in particular, I think we could be overlooking them. So I think there's a couple things that are going to make us sweat. But let's do it.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
It's time for going to make you sweat. And by the way, when you're sweating, it's nice to drink a chill wine. And I know it's October and it's fall, but I got to tell you, I like chilled wines. Honestly, I do. Even reds. And you can get those at Givoli Winery. Givoli Winery is a local winery located in the small town of Biola, California. You blink and you miss it. Take Shaw, go west, and you're going to go north on Biola Avenue. Givoli Winery, local wine, local grapes. Everything's done in-house. They are open Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5. And, well, not this weekend. You can't go because you'll be at the game. But this weekend they are having line dancing. So if you're in town and you're not able to go to the Fresno State football game, there is line dancing at Givoli Winery. And the game will be on, by the way. It's always on. Saturdays, Sundays, noon to 5, by appointment only on weekdays. Check them out. Givoli Winery. They also have wood fire, brick oven pizza from noon to 5 on Saturdays and Sundays as well. Thank you, Givoli, big supporters of the show and Fresno State athletics. All right. I'm going to hit it again.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
Caleb, what's going to make you sweat this Saturday?
All right. So I don't think the Wolfpack has a whole lot going for them. So I will immediately start sweating if Carson Strong and Romeo Dubs walk down the ramp and somehow found some extra eligibility for Nevada, because I don't see really how this team's going to beat Fresno State, barring some miracle. So I know that's kind of a cop-out, but yeah, unless they find some superstars on the roster, I don't think this is going to be close.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. We're going to get to the spread in a sec. Texas State was 17-point favorite in this game, in that past game, in last week's game. They went down 17-0 at halftime, came back and won, scored 35 unanswered. And the only way that Nevada was able to do that was turnovers, forcing turnovers. That's going to make me sweat. If we are turning the ball over, I will be sweating. I don't think we have any reason to turn the ball over. We've protected the ball very well this year. I don't remember a fumble this year, which is very odd. And, you know, the picks, when there has been a pick, it's been bad, but we've been very limited to turning the ball over when it comes to turning the ball over. So I think we're going to be okay. But if we do come out and Nevada forces 2-3 turnovers in the first half, then I'm going to start to sweat. But even then, I know Texas State put up 35 in the second half, all unanswered. So we can figure this out. We're going to be fine. Caleb, we can't overlook them, though, because they did play Kansas tough. 7 points. They should have beat Texas State. I mean, they were in the position to beat them. They played them tough first half. So if they put 4 quarters together, this could be a tough game. I mean, these guys can play. So, if we turn the ball over and we're not playing up to our high standards, it could be a tough game. And by the way, whenever we're ranked, we seem to play down to our competition. 2 years ago, we lost to Hawaii, or that was COVID year. We lost to Hawaii when we were ranked. We had no business losing to them. We lost twice 2 years ago when we were ranked. Rough. And we almost lost to UNLV.
Right.
So
yeah, and especially, against a conference opponent like Nevada, I mean, there's been a lot of matchups between these two teams, and this Fresno State team is going to get the best shot from all of the opponents going forward, because everyone's going to be fired up and trying to play their best against Fresno State. So yeah, definitely can't overlook them, but I kind of am overlooking them because I don't think they have any chance.
I took the under, and I took Kent State to cover against Fresno State. Neither of those happened. So I can't go against the Dogs again. So make sure by the end of this episode, Caleb, that my predictions are we're with Vegas on this because I think we're like 21.5 point favorites or something like that. The last time I looked, maybe it was 27. I don't remember, but it was brutal, and I'm going to stick with it this game. So, yeah, really no reason to sweat too much. Let's get to
everybody dance now.
Everybody dance now. It's Caleb. What's going to make you dance? It's time. By the way, I have your dance video that I'm going to post tomorrow, so be ready. So everyone, it's time to pull out the Caleb Pletz dance moves. When you're listening to this, they should be up. So
good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the Dogs hit last week, scoring 7 touchdowns, which was awesome. I would love to see that every week. So I'm gonna stay attainable on this one, and also kind of drawing from a theme from our previous, or drawing on a theme from our opponent's previous game. So last week, Nevada scored 2 defensive touchdowns. So this week, I will dance if Fresno State scores 2 defensive touchdowns.
Okay. It's going to happen. You know, you've been spot on, man. You speak it into existence. Let's go.
I'm just drawing from previous experience, and you know, it seems to repeat itself.
My everybody dance now has been, and I said that it was going to be for the entire year, a kickoff return for a touchdown. Hasn't happened in 4 games in the non-conference games. I thought it would happen. And because I believe this is my fault, I think I'm jinxing them. So I'm done. I'm done, Caleb. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm picking something else. I'm going in a different direction so that hopefully we break this curse and we take a kickoff return for a touchdown sometime during Mountain West play. And if it's this game, then you all know it was me, and I apologize. So I'm going to go with Mikey Keene, 350 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and a 100-yard rusher. Okay.
Wow.
So 350 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 passing touchdowns. If he throws picks, that's fine. We're going 2 touchdowns, 350 yards passing, and a 100-yard rusher. That should give us a win for sure if we do
Absolutely. That. Yeah, I think that would be huge if a single rusher is able to, you know, hit that 100-yard mark, because that usually means that they've broken a couple decent chunk runs, you know, 20 or so yards. So I think that's important with kind of maintaining the momentum on offense and kind of being multiple, and you know what, you know, the different types of looks are. So yeah, I think that would be huge. And I don't think that we've had a 100-yard rusher yet. I have to get the stats department on that one, but
I think so. Yeah, unless Gilliam hit it against Purdue, but I don't know if he did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's somebody can put it in the comments. They'll find it. Again, I want to go back to yours really quick. 2 defensive touchdowns. I would like to see those early. If that happens, and we could add this to keys to the game. I'd love to see the defense come out and shut them down early. And if those defensive touchdowns happen early too, then you have plenty of time to figure out when you want to dance. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of dancing, one thing that makes my wife dance is flowers. If you want flowers and you want to make people dance, you can get them at Flora Flower Co., our local flower shop, big supporter of the show. They're modern, unique. They support local growers, and they not only have flowers, but they also have gifts in general. And I'm like all different kinds of stuff, candles, cool mugs that I see everywhere. Everybody likes these certain mugs. Yeah, the female is, you know, is different than me. I don't get these things, but that's why they have a female that is trendy in there that will make your bouquets for you, and they will let you know exactly what you need. So you can go to Shepherd and Willow between 10 and 6 p.m. on Monday and Saturday. That's Shepherd and Willow, 10 to 6 p.m. on Monday and Saturday. You can, where the florist will be in there to help you create something special, or you can go online. You can order online and use code Fresno15. That's Fresno, the number 15, for 15% off. And that lets them know that we sent you. And if you enjoy it as much as I do, they have subscriptions for your loved one who really likes it. And when you have a subscription, it comes with free delivery. So you could sign up for that as well. That's Flora Flower Co., Shepherd and Willow, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6 p.m. for all your flower and gift shop needs. Check them out. Thank you, Flora, for all your support. All right, man. Let's move into kind of keys to the game. So we like to roll into keys to the game after everybody dance now. Kind of they flow together. Anything that you want to add from your everybody dance now to keys to the game? Let's get more technical with these, because we haven't talked much about Fresno State in particular.
Yeah, I think one of my keys for this game on the defense is going to be basically limiting any type of big play, because we saw last week against Kent State. Pretty much the catalyst to Kent State, sustaining a touchdown drive was, hitting a 40-yard pass completion on, I think that was on Lockridge, who had the coverage on that one. So, because up until that point, pretty much everything was getting stuffed. I mean, their runs were so slow developing, and for the most part, the Fresno State defense was doing a good job of containing and really limiting any success on the ground. And then they hit a big pass play, and that kind of built some momentum for them. So I kind of see that as really Nevada's only way of really staying in the game offensively, is if they're able to connect on a couple deep passes, or maybe a broken tackle on a long run or something like that. So as long as Fresno State's able to basically limit any type of big or explosive play for Nevada, I think their offense is going to be pretty much stymied.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I had written down, don't get lulled to sleep. I think that what can happen in games like this is exactly what you were saying, is we keep everything in front of us and we get lulled to sleep because they're not able to do much, and then they run a play action pass, and somebody's running wide open through the seam, and they hit them for a 50+ yard touchdown. I don't want that to happen. And offensively, we got to put them away early. We got to start fast. We've started fast past, I think, all season. I would say we started fast, and then we die out. And after that, I would love us to convert on touchdowns. I would say 3 out of the 5 drives. I mean, we scored Kent State, was it 7 touchdowns on 7 drives? Boom, 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 boom. I know it was at least 5. We need to do that again, especially against a team like Nevada, which, I would say that is more on par with Kent State. So put them away early, and whether that be through the air or rushing. I know I talk about ground and pound most of the time, but this game, and after watching Kent State, I don't care how it gets done. I think that, we struggled a little bit too much on the ground against Kent State, to where I think there's still some confidence that needs to be built. So maybe later on in the game, you could do it just like you did against Kent State. So put them away early through the passing game. You can't guard our wide receivers. Then let's go and get our 100-yard rusher. So my key to the game offensively is just convert on, let's say, 3 out of your 5 first drives. That would be nice, because I think defense is going to do their job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as long as the points are coming consistently, even if it is a couple field goals mixed in, I think that's going to be plenty to really keep Nevada at bay. Because I don't see them really being explosive or putting up more than 2 touchdowns.
What do you think happens on the defensive side of the ball with DBs? Because we've seen some movement with Cam Lockridge and Azilian Hamilton. Do you have a preference? Have you seen somebody separate? I know we all know that Cam Lockridge got into little bit of trouble with the team. Not exactly sure what happened, but he was out there last game playing. But Alzillian's gotten some snaps. So do you have a preference? Do you not care? What have you seen? What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a preference between the two. I mean, Hamilton has shown that he's, definitely capable of stepping in, in Lockridge's place. But, Cam's a special player. And I think that, the Fresno State defense is better when he's on the field. So, yeah, I definitely like him to, be out there and contribute to the team. And hopefully he's able to kind of work out, whatever he's going through with the coaching staff. And, so I'd like to see him out there for sure. I mean, in terms of the depth chart, I don't think Coach Tedford has changed it at all in the first 5 games. So Cameron is still listed as the starter. But yeah, I don't really take or look too much into that because I don't think they've updated it at all since week 1. So, but yeah, I think either way, they're going to be ready. But I would like to see Lockridge out there.
Yeah, I agree. Now let's talk O-line. We've talked about O-line every single week. I don't think much has changed in the conversation-wise of O-line. Some pieces have changed. We're seeing some movement. We saw last game at O-line. I think that stays. Was it Osmar Velez?
Yep.
Got the start, and he played the entire game against Kent State over Tyrone Sampson.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that stays. I don't think anything's changing there, but I like to see some improvement in the running game, like I mentioned. And then I'm primarily interested in the blitz schemes that we see from Nevada, because I mean, we saw a lot of like A-gap pressure from Arizona State, and we saw some from Kent State, but I thought we did a better job. But I'm curious to see if anyone copies Arizona State and how they did things defensively. I don't know. What are your thoughts on O-line and, stopping blitz packages and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially if, the Nevada linebacker core is strong, like, our get to know guest was mentioning. I don't know why they wouldn't try to, replicate what Arizona State did, by blitzing up the middle, because that seemed to really disrupt the Fresno State offense. So, yeah, I agree. O-line definitely improved last week over the Arizona State game in terms of pass protection. And that's definitely a key to keep Mikey clean and let him step into passes. So that way he's able to get enough juice on it to get the ball there. So, I'm sure there's been a lot of work in practice, more like kind of seemed more like communication and, less about technique, just making sure that each guy knows whose responsibility is whose. And so I think that the Arizona State game was a good learning lesson for the O-line and the coaching staff too, to make sure that, the team's on top of that.
Right. And as a coach, you're always taking 1 week at a time to get better. I think every game you want to see your players get better. We saw that step from Arizona State to Kent State. I think the players got better against Kent State. We'll see if they improve on that game and get better against Nevada as well. All right. Moving on to weather, TV, and spread. There is a chance of rain, Caleb. And the reason I know this is because I got a call from the owner of the grapes, my father, that we farm, freaking out because there's a 50% chance of, I think it was a 51% chance of rain I saw on Saturday. And so the farmers are going crazy. But before we talk more about weather, if it's raining, usually that means I'm praying on the farm. Either praying for rain or praying that, God forbid it rains on our raisins. And I do a lot of my praying, or I spend a lot of my time at the Vine Church in Fresno. That's how I'm learning how to get in the ads, make them flow. The Vine Church in Fresno is located on Shaw, just west of Grantland. If you're interested in strengthening your community, meeting with people, finding support groups, you need prayer, come on out to the Vine. My wife and I attend there. We drove past and we were looking for a church. There it was. Everyone was so kind, welcoming. They speak truth there. and we've been attending ever since. So if you're looking for that community, please come out and join us. Sundays, 10 a.m. Divine Church on Shaw, just west of Grantland. Let me know that you're coming, and I'll make sure that I stop and say hi, or just come on up to me and say hi. Pastor handed me a mic the other day and made me do announcements, so that was scary. You guys know, when I get in front of a mic, you never know what's going to come out, and I don't either, which is not good. So let's talk about weather, Caleb. 51% chance of rain, TV, spread, all of the fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely getting some fall weather here. I'm seeing the high for the day is low 70s, and chance of rain around 50%. Looks like it's mostly going to be in the morning, so I think at game time it should be clear enough. And obviously, I say that with the amount of confidence that any weatherman would give you on TV. So
you can't get fired for it, that's for sure. Even
exactly.
if you're wrong.
So interesting. Sunset's at 6:45 now, so it's getting into fall time, and so it'll be dark, and the lights will be on by the time kickoff is a little after 7:30. And like you mentioned, the game's on FS1, and so we do have Petros Papadakis, who does like Fresno on the color commentary. Interestingly, though, I don't know if they're actually going to be in the stadium, because I've seen that this crew, Dan Hilly and Petros, they've been calling a couple of games remotely. So I don't know if they'll actually be in the stadium. So it's kind of a new thing that they're trying to be more efficient there. So if you can't watch it or be there in person, definitely tune into Bulldog Sports Network and listen to Paul, Pat, and Cam on the call, because definitely excellent color and commentary from those guys describing what's going on. And hopefully we're getting close to a sellout for this game. I haven't seen updated numbers recently, but what are you feeling in terms of attendance on this game?
I don't know. I'm a little worried the rain is going to scare people away. I hope it doesn't. I think I saw some numbers from students, and the students are loving it. I think they're going to pack that place again. I know we broke a record last game against Kent State. There's no reason we shouldn't do the same thing, especially with a ranked Fresno State team. This is when we see the casuals show up, and I'm happy. I want them to show up. But the people, and typically it's girlfriends of the guys that really care. They start coming again. They start to care a little bit. So I think there's going to be a lot of people there. But once again, Caleb, we talked about it last week, and that for the amount of good things that are going on in the football program right now, the amount of talk that is going on is so little. I can't believe it. Like last year with Hayner, and then the years before with Marcus McMarion, those guys, I felt like there was so much talk around it, everything going on. This year, I just not hearing it. I don't know. Am I wrong to say that? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we are maybe lacking some of the name recognition in terms of like our stars on the team. It's a lot of new players, especially on offense. Those are kind of the more notable, players for the casual fans. So, yeah, I think that you're right there, that maybe that's part of the lack of recognition from local media, I guess. But I mean, I think our local sports media is doing what they always do in terms of coverage. But yeah, in terms of just buzz around town, it doesn't really seem like it's quite there. But obviously, the team keeps winning. The momentum is going to build. And yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying about the weather possibly impacting this game. I think that if you aren't a diehard and you don't really care about the Dogs beating up on Nevada, you can easily catch it on TV, which is sometimes the detrimental part of having our games on basic cable.
Right. Just remember that these guys announcing, they're not really there. They're not getting the true experience of what everyone else is going through in the stadium. Just reminders. So if you're watching on TV, which is a bummer. I feel like if I was in that business, we talked to Paul before the season started, and you asked him about different press boxes. And I think that's one of the great things about that job. You get to run around to different press boxes and meet people and see different cities and cultures and things like that. And then you work for a big name brand company. You don't get to do that. At least this crew doesn't. Bummer. So anyways, that's besides the point. I just checked, Caleb. Right now, the Dogs sit at 24.5-point favorites. I believe I checked right after, I think I checked Sunday or Monday, and the Dogs were 21.5-point favorites, and it's gone up 3 points. So people really like the Dogs. So they had to move it up. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think after last week's performance, I think you and I are both thinking the same, that I'm not going to doubt the Fresno State offense and their ability to take advantage of a lesser team. So I see Fresno State covering this, and I think the point total is going to go over. I think Nevada's going to squeak out, a touchdown and a couple field goals. So I have my final score at 42-13. The Dogs coming away with a 29-point victory. So 42-13 is my pick.
Oh, wow. I'm going 41-7.
Ooh, single digit.
Yeah, 41-7. And so we're hit. I didn't check the over under, but I got to get this
49.5 is the point total.
Oh man, I just missed it. Well, I have to go over, Caleb. Let's go. What you said, 41? We're going 44-7. 44-7.
Okay.
So yeah, that I think that would make a fun game for the fans, and I hope that fans don't leave at halftime or third quarter if it's a blowout or anything like that. I hope people stick around. We're nothing like Arizona State fans. Those are fair weather fans. They showed up for the USC game. They didn't show up for our game. We whooped them. Anyways, I hope they stick around for the Dogs and the butt kicking they're about to put on. So before we get into the last bit of it, Caleb, we need to talk about Manage X. The Dogs defend their house. They're 4-0 this year. How can people hook up with Manage X and get some people to help their properties out?
Exactly. Yeah. Another big sponsor of Beware of Bulldogs and supporter of Fresno State Athletics too. So yeah, we definitely thank Manage X for their support, and they provide property management services for single-family homes, apartments, light industrial, and office properties as well. So if you're a landlord in the Fresno or Clovis area and you need some help, definitely get in touch with them. You can go to their website, managex.net, and you can connect and learn more about what they do and if they can help you out.
ManageX.net. Got it that time. All right. Can I finish this thing up? I want to talk special teams. So special teams was way more consistent against Kent State. I thought, well, we didn't even see Carson, but the game before that, at Arizona State, Carson did a good job. Dylan Lynch has been good. And we had former long snapper come into the conversation, Jacob Westbury, listen to our conversation on, if Abe's healthy, do you bring Abe in? And he said, no, you're consistent right now. You leave it as it is. I totally agree. What's your thought on special teams? We could talk kicking game, but I also want to go into the return game. And if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Jalen Gill is, building some confidence in terms of the return. It doesn't seem like he doesn't hit the hole as quickly as, Nico did last year. He's kind of more waiting for, the blocking to line up and develop. So, obviously there's different ways to do it, and I've never returned a kick in my life. So obviously I don't really know the strategy behind it, but it does seem like he's getting a little bit more confident with each game. And yeah, we're due for one. We're more than due for a kickoff return, but as long as we're getting decent field position, around the 30 or, better than that, I'm happy. Like I'd rather, be a little bit more conservative and just get decent field position than, maybe try to risk something than, have it not turn out well.
Yeah. So I looked into the most common ways that the most common paths that a runner takes on a touchdown. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. So when they catch the ball, they typically start running towards the middle and a hole opens up. It's usually on either side. They go down the sideline, right? So hit the middle as fast as you can. At least that's what I was taught in high school. I wasn't fast, so I wasn't returning kicks. So you hit the middle of the field as fast as you can and get outside. I'm 100% know that Baxter, he knows all of this. If I know this, Baxter knows that. And so that is the most common path for a touchdown on a kickoff. Down the middle, bounce it outside. That's what I like to see happen. But I'd like to see it done the way that you talked about, and the way that most people that I see that are successful do it. And that's just put your head down, run as fast as you can, and then the second you see it, bounce it outside and go. That's my thought on the kickoff on the kickoff return. So we're coming full circle. But other than that, yeah, Dylan Lynch will be kicking as far as we're concerned and as far as we know. And then when it comes to kickoff return, I'm just praying Jalen Gill goes crazy. Oh, anything else, Caleb, that you want to talk about in this game that you had written down? Any notes that we need to touch on?
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, I think I'd look to see, Pat McCann kind of continue what he started last game, where it kind of felt like he was hitting his stride. I know he was asked in the coach's press conference on Monday if, he felt like that was his, best called game so far, and he said yes. So, hopefully he's able to build on that. And I think, like we mentioned at the very beginning, pretty much most of our questions have been answered about, personnel on this team. So now it's just coming down to execution and, preparedness. And I will favor a Jeff Tedford coach team over, pretty much anyone else in the conference. I mean, especially a second-year coach at Nevada who's, still kind of rebuilding. So definitely an edge there for Fresno State in terms of coaching. And I think that this should be one where Fresno State's starting 1-0 in conference play unless, something drastic happens to the contrary.
Yep. We will see you there. We'll both be there in former Bulldogs Stadium. Be there early before kickoff. Kickoff reminders at 7:30. So start heading in at 7. Give yourself some time because the lines do not move fast when you're checking in, but they don't. And you already know everything goes wrong. If you have online tickets, something's going to go wrong. It always does for me. Or your bag isn't see-through. So give yourself some time to check in and get to your seat. And we will see you there. Let us know if you want to, grab a beer or something. We'll be, by the way, before the game. Because once the game starts, I'm watching the game. Sorry.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah, let us know where you're at, and we'll do our best to make it by and say hi and chat, as we love. We're all family, we're all Bulldogs, so we appreciate all your guys' support, and we will see you guys Saturday. And if not Saturday, we'll see you Sunday night at 7 p.m. live on YouTube. By the way, we figured out Twitter. You have to pay for Twitter to be able to comment. So if you're not verified, you can't comment. So that wasn't on us.
Yep. So definitely check us out on YouTube because the chat is way more lively there anyway. So definitely go check us out on YouTube live at 7 on Sundays.
All right, and we'll recap the game. Good or bad, we'll be there. This one is going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, thank you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.